Welcome, everyone. Again, this is Ryan Gregoire, your association's legislative director, and thank you for tuning into today's NYSAC News video update. I'm joined today by our special guest this afternoon, Alex Lamont, NYSAC's legislative and policy coordinator. She's a critical member of our legislative team here at NYSAC. And Alex, thank you for joining us.
Thank you, Ryan.
Great. Well, for our listeners, this is really our second episode recapping the governor's SFY 2022 executive budget proposal. Alex joins me today to talk about some revenue proposals in the budget. There's several initiatives out there. Some are very good for counties. Some are a little bit concerning, Alex. I think we want to highlight for our members the governor's proposal for legalizing adult use cannabis and the impacts on counties with that proposal. Of course, the authorization to make our sales tax rates permanent, and for those below 4%, the ability to, at a local option, go to 4%. And then on the negative side, we're really advocating collectively as a statewide association to restore the cuts to video lottery terminal aid that's supplied to several counties throughout the state. So with that in mind, why don't we start with the governor's proposal, in my opinion, the most important one on this topic, which is the authorization for counties to have their sales tax be made permanent. And for those who are below 3%, the ability to go to 4%. Certainly, I know you've been on the forefront helping us advocate for this for many years now. Do you have anything you want to add on that proposal, what it means for counties, and why it's so important given the current climate that we're facing on the COVID-19 revenue losses that our counties have experienced?
Yeah, as you said, this has been a NYSAC priority. It's very important that counties can focus on all of the other things happening right now, whether it be the COVID response, the revenue shortfalls, the challenges facing their local businesses at this time, and not have to spend their time going back to the legislature every year asking for an authorization for their sales tax rate. So we are very supportive of this proposal. We really appreciate the governor including it in his executive budget, and we think it's important to allow counties to focus on all of the other priorities they have at this time.
Yeah, absolutely. And certainly, I think we've all heard from our members over the last couple of years now, please, enough of this bureaucratic process of having to go to the legislature, get a local law approved. And for those counties below 4%, they really want the flexibility in working at a local level to decide, is this the right option for us? Mm-hmm. So it's a proposal that makes sense. Like you just said, we'll be working with our members, with members of the state legislature to make sure this makes it through the end of the day in April in the enacted budget. But let's transition a moment and talk a little bit about adult use cannabis. This was a proposal that the governor put on the table last year in his budget. Certainly, Assembly Member Crystal People-Stokes and Senator Liz Krueger are the champions in the state legislature on this bill. They have their own plan. But what does the governor's executive budget proposal include for counties? What is the impact of his plan?
Yeah, so I think it's important to say from the start that NYSAC has not taken a position for or against the legalization of adult use cannabis. Our focus has been on this revenue side. So our position as an association is that if adult use cannabis is legalized, counties should receive a portion of the revenue to deal with the impacts, specifically to public health and safety. And the bill does include a number of provisions to protect public health and safety, but for the purposes of this video, we want to focus on revenue. So what the proposal, includes is 3 taxes on adult use cannabis. There is one opposed from the sale from the wholesaler to a dispensary. The second is a surcharge imposed on the sale from a dispensary to the consumer. And the third tax would be a state and local sales and compensating use tax, which is what we're really excited to see in this proposal. This is different than the previous proposals we've seen from the governor and legislature. but it's always been NYSAC's position that we should be able to collect an amount equivalent to our local sales tax rate on these sales. One reasoning for that is that the implications of cannabis legalization are going to be very similar to alcohol, and we collect sales tax on alcohol sales to deal with impacts to traffic safety, public health education, all of these different considerations counties need to think about with regards to legalization. So we're very excited to see that last third tax included in this executive budget proposal. The governor is projecting in fiscal year 2022 to receive $20 million from the legalization of adult use cannabis. By 2027, fiscal year 2027, this increases all the way to $374 million. So if this is included in the state budget, it would have small impact in the initial years when the program is still getting up and running, but in the out years, it would be a considerable revenue generator for the state of New York.
Sure, yeah, and it's great to see that particularly that component to authorize the collection of local county sales tax at existing rates was included in the governor's plan. This will be something that we're going to work with the legislature on should this proposal advance. And to your point, NYSAC has not come out and taken a position for or against. Simply, if it is legalized, we should have the authority to raise local revenues for this. Now, the last component that I wanted to talk to you about today was VLTA, Video Lottery Terminal Aid. This is a budget item that benefits only a select number of municipalities. For counties, it's Genesee County, Erie County, Ontario County, Sullivan County, Saratoga County, and Oneida County. Collectively, with all the other municipalities, it's about a $29 million revenue program, but the executive proposes eliminating the VLT aid for everyone except for Yonkers, and then the city of Yonkers would receive a fractional decrease in their aid. Now, this is something that the governor had proposed last year. The legislature bought it back, and maybe Alex, you can explain to the folks what it means for the legislature to buy back an item. But can you shed some light on your thoughts on this proposal and what the association will be doing for the remainder of this budget period in advocating for that full restoration?
Of course, thank you. I just had to unmute myself there. So this is an important proposal for county because it is, of course, a revenue item. As you mentioned earlier, for the legislature to buy this back, that essentially means that if they get rid of a proposal that saves the state money, they need to find somewhere else to save the money in order to advance their one house budget and have it balance out, because the state has a limited amount of revenue and a limited number of programs that it can expend funds on. So this is an important priority for NYSAC in the coming year. If you are interested in going to our website, NYSAC.org, we have a budget scorecard that outlines this proposal and all of the other proposals and where NYSAC falls down on it. And so this is helpful because as a county legislator or a county supervisor, you may want to use some of our talking points to communicate to the state legislature why we come down on proposals in a particular way. And it's also helpful for the governor and legislators themselves within the state legislature to be able to have a concise summary of why counties are supportive or not supportive of particular proposals within the executive budget.
That's a good point, Alex. And for our members, Alex just talked about visiting our website for our scorecard. You can obtain those documents by going to www.nysac.org/NYS budget. And then I also want to remind everyone about our upcoming virtual lobby day for county members. That's going to be held on March 10th and March 11th this year. You can find all the details. You can register for the specific meetings that you're interested in by visiting our website again at nysac.org/lobby day. With that, Alex, before we conclude, did you have any other final thoughts for the county folks who are tuning in to listen to this NYSAC News video update?
I think we covered the main points in relation to the revenue portion of the budget. I will add that if there are additional topics that members would like an explainer on or more information about, if there are budget items that you're uncertain of, you can always contact our team, and our information is available on the NYSAC website. We are happy to connect with you about any particular budget items or other legislative matters happening right now.
Yeah, a lot going on. We'll keep everyone up to date. And again, thanks for tuning in, everyone. Make sure to check back for the next NYSAC News video update, where we are recapping the governor's executive budget proposal for state fiscal year 2022. Thanks again for tuning in.